rematch clause. What's happening? Is there a rematch clause for these two?
So, as you were quite right in what you said, we do have a further fight with Riyadh Season and His Excellency Turki Alalshikh. And that could include a rematch with Daniel Dubois. Obviously, from our side, that's one of the fights that we could accept and would be willing to accept. But at the same time, His Excellency will have to deal with Frank Warren and make sure that, you know, they can look at a potential fight with us. But I think at the moment it's more about, you know, looking at the options for Anthony. I spoke to him about 10 minutes ago, and it's all very fresh at the moment. I mean, just over 24 hours after the fight. So plenty of options and plenty of things to consider and think about as well.
So just to confirm, I just want to make sure we're clear on this. The rematch clause wasn't there as such, but potentially these two will get it on again.
Yeah, we have the opportunity to fight a number of opponents with Riyadh Season, and Daniel Dubois could be one of them, yes. So if that was something that we wanted to push with Riyadh Season and His Excellency, we could, but at the same time would also be open to be looking at other fights as well, particularly focusing on, I think, December 21st as well.
And there is Eddie Hearn confirming, by not confirming, that there is not a direct rematch clause for Daniel Dubois. It's not in the contract, okay? So it's not in the contract. So the words that he used, activate the rematch clause, false, okay? They didn't have a rematch clause. The IBF don't play that mess, okay? First of all, I think the rematch was just to save face at that given point of time, since it was such an immediate shock to everybody. You know, Eddie had to do something. So I think he put his promoter hat on and said, hey, you know, we got a rematch clause. You know, Frank, I will go and do a separate video about Frank coming soon. But it's pretty much like, no, there's no rematch clause. That's what he meant by that. There is not a rematch clause. There is a possibility for a rematch, but it's not in the contract. Okay? Layman terms, no, there's not a rematch clause. He's looking for other possibilities. He wants to get AJ an easy touch again. He wants to bring him back down, which that doesn't look good at all, because that means that they're not even prepared, or he doesn't feel comfortable with AJ going right back in there because of the beatdown. See, Andy Ruiz was different. AJ got caught after hurting Andy Ruiz. This wasn't that type of fight. People tried to compare those two. It was like the same fight. No, it wasn't. Period. Danny Dubois was readier than Anthony Joshua expected. That's all. And he suffered the consequences. He came in at a 2. Daniel came in at a 10. And based on that, Eddie Hearn wants him in there with an easy touch. We're looking at all possibilities. Doesn't sound like a rematch clause activated to me. That was in a contract to me, because it's not one. Okay? He's going through Turki Alalshikh and seeing if Turki Alalshikh would want to fancy that fight, maybe in Saudi Arabia, not London, right? And now, to me, AJ, it don't matter where he's at, okay? He lost in Madison Square Garden for the first time. He lost again in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He lost again, right, in Saudi Arabia. And he lost again in Wembley. 4 times, different places, different venues, okay? So it doesn't matter at this point. So why am I saying that? Since we're talking about other possible opponents, everyone keeps talking about Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder. How about this? Since you've lost in all of these venues, you shouldn't think it or look at it as taboo, you know, not to come back to the States. He got whooped, like Jarrell Miller keeps saying. He got his ass whooped and didn't come back. You know, so I think he needs to shut Jarrell Miller up. You know, and that would be boss. AJ coming back to the USA. But again, it's all going through Turki Alalshikh. You know, I mean, he's like, it's almost like he's that big pimp You know, he's that guy that you come to. He's the godfather of boxing, you know? So I really don't know what else to tell you guys. Eddie Hearn, I'll say this about Eddie. Eddie Hearn, after boxing, he should become a politician because of the way with words. Okay? There's a possibility of a rematch. Right? There's not a rematch clause. There is no rematch clause. That's all you need to understand. Pragmatically, unapologetically, that is, like they say, is that. Okay? So AJ could fight someone else. Danny Dubois is not on contractual obligations to fight Anthony Joshua again. Okay? He was the champion. This is his mandatory, right? He did it for the money. Speaking of money, that's one way to get Daniel in if he wants to do that. If he wants to be a millionaire, I mean, that would be the only way. And then Turki Alalshikh has to approve it. If Turki doesn't think, nah, I don't think this is a good fight for the AJ, it ain't going to happen. Bottom line. So you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn admitting to Sky Sports that there is no rematch clause in their contract between Anthony Joshua and Danny Dubois. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!